It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Now, here's Joe Concha. It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. Now, here's Joe Concha.
And welcome back, everybody. Let's bring in Hugh Hewitt. He, of course, is the great radio host on the Salem News Channel, affiliates wide. So apparently this is also a TV thing as well. And obviously a Fox News contributor just like me. How are you, Hugh?
I'm great, Joe. Good to be with you on a Sunday morning. Glad that I am a part of the show. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I always love having you on because you give it to us straight. And it's hard to believe it was almost 1 year ago, Hugh, that you had that run-in with Jonathan Capehart when you were with the Washington Post. An argument was being made that you wanted to correct the record on. You did so in a very civilized fashion and was spoken down to. Any regrets as far as leaving the Post, or was it the best decision you ever made?
Oh, no. In fact, just last week, I was in upstate New York with Ruth Marcus, who was on the set that day, that unfortunate... Now, I've only lost my temper twice in 35 years of broadcast. The first time was with a lawyer for the pornography industry telling me that it wouldn't affect children, and I threw him off the set in PBS land out in L.A., and my producers got mad at me. And that was the second time. So if I lose it every 35 years, I guess it's okay. How about you, Joe? Have you ever lost your temper on set?
Only talking about something, but not actually with a guest. You know, I lost it, I guess it was a couple of months ago when James Comey, 60-something-year-old James Comey says he's wandering along the beach and stumbled upon seashells that were spelled 8647. And it was just so insulting to everybody's intelligence because obviously he did it because he literally was the only person to take a picture of this thing. He puts it up on social media and then plays the victim. I was on with Jesse Waters and I heard from people I haven't heard from in years saying, I've never seen you get that emotional before, but I was just so tired of the political rhetoric getting out of control in this country. And then just days later, I think that was when Charlie Kirk was shot. So I guess it proved to be, unfortunately, prophetic.
Well, that's righteous anger. I still don't like to lose my... And by the way, when you're the guest, you can get as angry as you want.
That's true.
It's just when you're with a colleague, I just do not like to lose my temper. It's just a professional discipline. But Ruth and I are good friends. She's a fine reporter, and I've always been a bit regretful that she caught some shrapnel for that because she had nothing to do with the setup, which was flawed. And I wish everybody well. I never talk down about people I've worked with. I just don't talk about them.
That's smart. And we're talking to Hugh Hewitt. So we're at day, I don't know, what is it now? Day 1,400 of the government shutdown. I mean, it's so hard to keep track at this point. Do you see this thing getting resolved anytime soon? Because it seems like both sides are completely dug in. And I think the fact that Americans, at least now, aren't feeling it in any way, shape, or form, or aren't even really talking about it. It's big in cable news, but for the most part, it's almost like a non-story, much like the government shutdown in 2018, where it was shut down for 5 weeks and no one really noticed. So is this a tree falling in the forest and no one hearing it moment, or will one side, do you think, eventually cave?
Well, I think we're all absorbed by the constitutional crisis of renovations at the East Wing. We're just all completely absorbed by that. But the reality of the shutdown is hitting people who work for the government, obviously, and they live in Northern Virginia. It might hurt Spanberger. I also think, can you imagine, Joe, if Republicans shut down the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP? It's food for poor people. That's all it is. People understand. A lot of people don't make enough money to eat. They go get SNAP cards. SNAP cards can only buy basic food, and they're free. And if Republicans, I'm a Republican, so I say we, if we shut down the government and SNAP ended, the world would be melting down. So I think Democrats are playing with fire, and just because their allies in legacy media have chosen to give them some cover, that will not fly much longer. And we'll see if Jack Ciattarelli wins in New Jersey or if Winsome Sears pulls it off in Virginia. Either of those will be very, very shocking to the Democrats, who should win both easily, given that there's a Republican in the White House. These are the off years that usually go the other way. So I hope that will wake them up, because this is really the Seinfeld shutdown. It's about nothing. It's stupid. Chuck Schumer does not want AOC. Do you vote in New York or New Jersey?
I vote in New Jersey, actually, so I could tell you from the ground here. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I've already voted for Sears. Have you already voted for Jack?
It starts tomorrow, actually. I'm sorry. It started yesterday, I should say, the 25th. So I'm going to go on Monday, and I'll be voting for Jack Ciattarelli. I've had him on this show before. He nearly won 4 years ago when he had no backing, no name recognition, and he lost by 2 points to Phil Murphy, who was expected to win by 15. So if he's in a dead heat now with Mikey Sherrill, who, again, cannot explain how she made $7 million while sitting on the Armed Services Committee trading defense stocks, that's something where she's gone all full Kamala Harris word salad on, and it's really hurting her.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Breathe deep. Imagine your legs more limber in Duluth Trading Double Flex Denim. Envision euphorically squatting for that can of suds, bending for your toolbox in a state of bliss, lunging for your laser level on a whole new level. Relax and allow the flex to fill you with ability. Find your inner flex in Double Flex Denim only at Duluth Trading.
I know the Virginia races very well. I know Spanberger has turned into an automaton, sort of a Star Trek-y person who's beaming aboard and doesn't say anything. She's falling in the polls, but I didn't know that Cheryl's problem was insider trading. I just thought Jack has been on the show exactly once in 25 years. He has a lot of charisma. Boy, yeah. What broadcast chops.
What is the feeling down in Virginia? Because that, I think, is a tougher hill to climb. Spanberger obviously being hurt by the Jay Jones controversy. That, of course, is the guy running for attorney general who wished death not only on his political opponent, but also on his wife and 2 young children, as well as cops need to be shot more, he said, in order for there to be police reform. So that appears to be dragging down that ticket. But will it be enough, given how strong Northern Virginia goes towards Democrats?
People forget that in the Senate race against Mark Warner probably 6 years ago, the former chairman of the RNC had almost came up and beat him and spent no money. So sometimes there are ripples in Virginia. I do think Winsome Sears is still behind, probably by 4 or 5 points. But Spanberger is flailing, absolutely flailing. She did a Katie Couric podcast yesterday, did it again, got mad at the voters because she has to answer the Jay Jones question, why won't you condemn this lunatic? And Miyares is going to win as Attorney General. He's pulled away, but it's a very uphill climb because this is a blue state like New Jersey. Maybe it takes 2 tries every time. Maybe it's like places like to rotate governors back and forth. But I have not given up hope. I've already voted for Sears. I believe it is possible. I didn't think that 3 months ago.
And we're talking to Hugh Hewitt, who was on with Bret Baier last night on Special Report, a regular panelist on that great show. I think the last news show that we actually have on the air now at this point, as far as ABC, CBS, and NBC and their evening newscasts are just so far to the left. And Bret does such a great job in bringing in different perspectives in the panel, but also giving you the news for the first 40 minutes of the show, the way we used to watch it growing up. I want to play for you because you talked about last night as far as Governor Pritzker. You believe he will run. Your quote exactly is he's not running very well. This is true. And right. Before you came on, Pritzker sat down with Bret, and this is how this interview went. And let's just say it didn't go well. Maybe the worst interview in the history of interviews on cable news. Yeah. This is cut 9. Go.
Why does Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities?
Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed, our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years,
here's a map.
They've all gone down.
U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number 1 over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you is when you want to fight crime. Look, you can pull statistics up.
No, these are murders.
I'm explaining to you that our murder rate has been cut in half. And very importantly, Bret, and you got to hear this, very importantly, we've been doing the things that are necessary to bring crime down, right? We've invested in community violence interruption. We've invested in police.
So basically, Hugh, he's going down this Democrat road, which we saw like with inflation, right, where it was transitory. It was a Putin price hike. Oh, people just don't understand the economy. It's or the Biden cheap fake videos where what you're actually seeing, you're not really seeing in terms of Joe Biden's brain turning to mashed potatoes. He's trying to convince people that everything's A-OK in Chicago. And Brett literally had balls and strikes numbers there that say, no, you're the highest in the country. And he continued to try to push it that everything's a utopia in the Windy City.
You grabbed the best bite. Pay no attention to the dead bodies behind the curtain. That was amazing. Brett, statistics, and Brett said, these are murders. And I thought, oh, he's bad at this. And there are some people who shouldn't run for president, just like big men should not do ballet. He should not be running for president. He's not good at this. But because he's in Illinois, that is a deep blue state, completely gerrymandered. It's got, I think, by most objective scorecard, the worst gerrymandering, which I don't mind, by the way. I'm a proponent of gerrymandering. That's what the framers thought that would happen. Political stuff, just one man, one vote. That's all we need. He's just not good at this. But the false positive he has in his head comes because he's a billionaire who bought the governor's mansion. It won't work in a competitive primary situation.
And that's the thing. And we're talking to Hugh Hewitt. Unfortunately, we only have about 2 minutes, Hugh, so I'll try to condense this question as best as I can. You have Zohran Mamdani, who's probably going to be the next mayor of New York. And some pundits out there I see, oh, no, that's the roadmap. You got to go more to the left and push progressive values. That's what AOC believes. Gavin Newsom wants to really, really run for president. That's a deep blue state with some severe problems that he also paints as, actually, no, we're really doing great. You're just misunderstanding the numbers. Same thing with Pritzker. Do you think ultimately that the candidate that ends up being the nominee will be from a state like Illinois, California, New York, or could you see it being more of a moderate like an Andy Beshear out of Kentucky?
Great question, Joe. I think it's going to be a lefty. I think they have to go through the cycle of nominating a new George McGovern. They have to get blown out, and then they'll have a Bill Clinton-esque figure arise, start a new Democratic majority, repeat the whole 1992 cycle, hope for a split among Republicans. But right now, the nominee is going to go to a talented lefty. And AOC is the most talented of them all in terms of she avoids getting run over in the middle of the street. She stays away from people like Brett who ask serious questions. And Gavin's record will melt him. I like the governor personally, nice guy, cannot run that state. I left that state, ran away for a reason. It's fallen apart.
And that's the thing, right? And I'll leave it here and I'll give you the last word for 15 seconds. But AOC runs. I can't see her winning Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina the same way Kamala couldn't. She'll be seen as a far leftist who speaks down to people, and she won't try to go to the center like Kamala attempted to. She'll stay left. And if you do that, sure, you'll blow it out in New York and California. You're going to lose everywhere else. So final 15 seconds. AOC, the nominee, right. Can she win?
Business proposition. For her benefit, it will make sense to run and lose and then go off and get your own show and make millions of dollars. And having been a Democratic nominee is not a small thing, even if you lose. So I think she can run.
All right, there it is. And Hugh Hewitt, he is a host on the Salem Media Network. That's 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hugh, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Joe. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too, sir. He's great, isn't he? I'm so glad Fox signed him because it just brings such intelligence and humor and pragmatism to the network. We have a lot of that, but we could always use more, and Hughes certainly brings it. This is Joe Concha. This is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. We wrap this puppy up in just a moment.
It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show. It's the Joe Concha Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday morning show.